into shadows, uncovering the light. Guess with solid minds, no tales of the strange. In Sasquatch Secrets, they'll begin to rearrange. Truth's the vibe, we're on a quest. Look beyond the trees, what do you see? Factual stories redefining history. No myths, no magic, let's break the mold. With every word spoken, the wonders unfold. Footprints in the snow, not just a myth. Data and research was sift through the pith. Tales of a creature, but science leads the way. Nikki's quest for knowledge, come join and stand.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Secrets. How's everybody doing today on this Sunday? It's a hot one. It is definitely a hot one here in El Paso. We've got about 102, 103 going on right now. So, hey, it's summer, right? I complain when it's hot. I complain when it's cold. You can't please me. Anyway, it's good to see everybody out there. We're gonna get right to the show today, and I appreciate y'all being here for sure. But today there is a fine line we walk in Bigfoot research. The one between what we know and what we don't. On one side, there's solid ground of science, evidence, facts, and tested theories. On the other side is an uncharted territory of the unknown. The strange, the unexplainable, the things that make us stop and say, what was that? For sure. So tonight we're going to be talking about what happens when something can't be identified through science. At least not yet. So does it stay a mystery forever? Do we chalk it up to folklore, or could it be a sign that we're missing a piece of the puzzle? So my guest tonight is Jonathan Rafferty, our very own Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks. And he's recently had last year he had an experience that left him scratching his head. And we're going to hear his story. We're going to dig into that scientific possibility and maybe other possibilities. And the goal isn't to convince anyone one way or the other, but to explore the space where questions live. So maybe, just maybe, we're going to find answers along the way. I also have another guest who's here to help with that journey as well. So let me go ahead and bring on our guests.
Oh, wizard, what do you see as you twist the tiles beneath?
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Nikki. How you doing?
I have a place here for sure.
Well, thank you. Much appreciated.
Let me bring on my next guest, who I wasn't sure was coming, but we've got our very own Tristan. Hey, Tristan. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for inviting me.
Great to have you
here. So tonight, as I described, Jonathan had something happen out there in the North Cascades last year when he came to the West Coast. And we're going to have him kind of go through what happened, where was he, what he was doing, and how this, happened and what he heard. And then we do have his evidence. So we'll play that for you. And Tristan's here because he's had some really similar audio that's happened, with him and his mom. Was this in Bumpy Lake, right?
No, the audio. This is the humming sound up on the hill.
Okay. Oh, okay.
This was my first foray. I mean, after that recording, that's when it all started for me. So,
oh wow.
yeah,
Okay.
that was the catalyst. Like that recording was it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, listening to everything, it's like, whoa. Okay. That's pretty interesting. So that's what we're doing tonight, folks. So sit down and take notes. No, get your questions ready because we'll make sure the guys will answer your questions as we go. And so why don't you start us off, Jonathan, with the what happened? Where were you? What was going on? And I'll kind of switch us around here.
Okay. Well, it was July 4th. I was camping in the North Cascade Mountains. I was by myself the first night before Brent and Bill came over. And, it was just like any other ordinary venture into the woods. I was mesmerized by the new territory, and, sun started setting, and I'm worried about getting my equipment out. I had plans on setting audio recorders in a triangular pattern around my camp. And it was, I don't know if it was quite dark yet or not, just about dark. And off in the distance, and also by looking at the topographical map on Onyx, it seemed to had come from deep out into the mountains somewhere, but be it 4th of July night. I heard a boom, a single boom. Sounded like it could be a single firework that was fired off. And shortly after that, I had heard what sounded like a cracking sound, very prominent. And by then it had gotten dark. And I was getting ready to walk out behind the camp to deploy the second audio recorder. And I remember, starting a video and mentioning the fact that, just heard that big crack out there. And now I got to walk out there 100 yards right towards it to go set out this audio recorder. And I was like, oh, you got to do it. It is what it is. Listening to the actual audio file of that noise that I described by ear as a crack, it certainly sounds like a full, healthy tree that came down. And what I heard was the crack. That's what reached my ear. That's how I perceived it. But the audio picked up more of a lot more. It sounded just like a full tree coming down. Crack. Mm-hmm. You could hear all the brush and such. So I got the audio recorder ready to deploy and ventured on out behind the camp. In some of the videos that I ran before or afterwards, I think I tried to correct myself if I posted anything on YouTube due to the fact that I didn't think that I set the audio recorder out until after I had heard the movement that I'm going to explain to you through the woods. When in fact, after listening to the audio, I realized that I had put the audio recorder prior to hearing this movement. So keep that in mind. I walked out there to, again, set out the audio recorder. And so now knowing, well, let me also tell you, I had never, ever been back there. Even when I got there earlier in the day, I ventured the other way on the other side of the road. So I had no idea what was out there. I didn't know that there was a beaver flow of sorts. It was brought to my attention that it was a man-made flow that beavers moved into and made it a beaver flow. But I didn't know that it was out there.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was walking, getting deeper and deeper and deeper out there, you know, the trees and the types of plants and the sounds that I was hearing was, you know, indicative of water. It seemed to me like I've got water ahead of me. So I found a small evergreen tree just off the trail, and there was like some old rotted stump right alongside of it that allowed me to get up on top of that far enough up so I could grab some branches, go up and set the audio recorder up in the tree. And I did so. Now looking back, I understand that whatever that was that was in that brush, that moved through that brush, this heavy movement through the brush that I explained in the video, whatever was there had to have watched me climb up that tree. Maybe it wasn't watching me, I don't know, but it was there. And I went up that tree, was up in there for a bit, making sure I had everything straightened out, and then climbed back out of the tree, got on the trail, and I didn't walk 10, 15 feet. And then I hear what sounded to me like a very large animal moving through the brush from my right to left. It moved through the brush, and then I just, you know, I heard it. I thought it was, looking back at the videos, I thought it was interesting that when you see me in the video and I start pointing, explaining something about the terrain, I don't know, as soon as I point, it took off. And when I mean took off, like, it didn't sound like a fast, like a coyote or a smaller animal that you could hear digging, you know, away. It was just this. It was like a friggin' elephant. It seemed like I could just tell it was big, and it just moved through. Stopped. I kind of made a mistake going into quiet mode. I tried to work my way out of that and try to stay normal and keep my cool, but I did. I went into whisper mode for a moment, and you know, I called, you know, try to calm down, just act normal. Then what I thought sounded as if that it came in or out of water, whether it was the same animal that moved through the brush or it was a different one, I don't know. It sounded like something came in or out of water. Listening to the audio recording with sound canceling headphones on, it sounds more like a mouth pop or teeth clacking, which is indicative of a bear. Right. Could have been a bear. And that's why I'll refer back to thinking about a bear being 15, 20 feet away from me while I went and climbed up that friggin' tree, set that audio recorder. It was probably sitting there licking its chops, saying like, "This is just too easy. Like, I gotta wait until he gets on the ground to chase him." Or he could have had me easy, right? But either way, so I hear all this movement, and then you know, I start to go into, what if this is a Sasquatch? What if this is it? You know, I start basically, like, I didn't get down on a knee, but I'm taking a knee, thinking to myself, don't screw this up. I got my thermal out, thinking through the steps. Don't, you know, tuck tail and run, but I need to make some space between me and this thing, because I don't know what it is. And I didn't know if they had moose over there or not. And this thing was way too close for me to take any evasive action, even to, you know, I was thinking about grabbing my bear spray and pulling it out and getting it to the ready. But while I was thinking about that, I started stepping back about 8-10 feet, turn around. I'm looking at my thermal. I can't see anything. This all goes on for a little bit as I start working my way back 30-40 feet, and about where I had the first time I was going to put out the recorder. And finally, I don't know, I was just like, I guess psychologically, I am a little uptight and thinking maybe it's good to just go ahead and get on back to the truck. So it's good that everybody knows that was all kind of what happened out there when I went out to put out my recorder. On my way back to the truck, off of my right shoulder, I am pretty darn sure that something was making its way. Now that I know there's a swamp there, I'll say along that swamp, and then started hooking into the woods because I kept hearing it breaking sticks, and I knew that something was moving through there. I assumed that something was moving through there. It sounded pretty, I can be pretty sure that something was definitely coming over that way. And I get back to the truck, and there's some of these little tiny trees or whatever you walk through. You're just coming out of the last part of the trail. There's my truck, the fire, and the tailgate. And I got just about to the tailgate, and I'm talking about something doing another video or whatever. And I hear this rumbling noise. It just, I mean, I can't imitate it, but it was this rumbling noise that caught my attention. And, for many of us that have been out camping and you have some wood in the fire and say some of it's wet, this is what first came to mind for me. Either the fire shifted and something happened and it made that sound, or I thought maybe some moisture was built up in some damp wood or whatever be it. And, and it finally superheated and found a spot to burst out some air, and it made that sound. This is all going through my head very quickly. I wasn't spending a bunch of time thinking about it, but I kind of blamed it on the fire. So after that, I'm still standing in that area, contemplating on now I've got to get this other audio recorder together, and I've got to go put the last one out to complete the triangle. And I turned around. I was facing the truck because that's where all my equipment and stuff is. And I had my thermal, and I remember looking up, and across the road is some evergreen trees, but you can see out through there quite a bit. So it was very intriguing with the thermal to just, take aim out there and be patient and see if you could see anything walking around out there. And I, set the thermal down. As soon as I set that thermal down, let's see, I had my headlamp on, and the headlamp has a, headlamp strap. I've got the audio recorder. Actually, that thing's kicking right around here somewhere. There it is. So I set the audio recorder. This is the actual audio recorder, and I put it inside this cloth sheath. And that makes it very acoustically sound. When I have that in my head strap, usually always put it in my right side. Little twigs that hit it and stuff that hits it, other than the very top on the microphone, just moves on the cloth. It's very muffled, so it doesn't give you a bunch of ready tat on your recordings while you're walking around in the woods or standing there.
Mm-hmm.
It was on this side of my head, and I'm doing what I'm doing, and then this buzzing hum sound comes in, just and that sound vigorously. I say vigorously, I just because I think to myself, as much as it shook, if there was a camera on my ear, I am certain that the bottom of my earlobe would have been seen wiggling. It wasn't just tiny, like a little bit. And it vibrated here and about halfway up the cartilage of my ear. As that sound came in, my ear vibrated with it, and as it went away, it stopped. And this sound, it to me standing there, it didn't sound like I could hear a June bug coming from 10 feet away, and it got louder and louder and louder, and it was in my ear. And I've had that happen. I've had bugs and beetles.
Yeah,
and
right.
that. I know what that sounds like. This was just there. The sound started like it had to have been right here, and then it was gone. And it's left me bewildered as far as what sound could make your
Right.
And so somebody like myself, I don't quite subscribe to that because there isn't anything that, as far as I know, known that can make your ears shake. So, of course, they start asking close friends, what do you think? And, well, it might have been a dragonfly, might have been this, might have been that. So I go to Macaulay Library Sound. I go to the internet. I'm looking for spectral analysis of dragonflies in flight, hummingbirds in flight, different type of beetles. I'm looking up the beetles from that area, whether they're supposed to be there or whether they're not, whether they're migratory or just native to the area, the time of year. And that's what I'm researching, trying to gather up information where I can find a match. And
Right.
there's something here, actually. Sandwich Savant brought something up, the last video that I put out. And if this Nighthawk is not the source of that sound, it drew me to some audio details that I was not familiar with, called the Doppler effect, meaning a sound that would register the same frequency as you see the visual representation of it on a spectrogram can change if the sound is moving. If it's moving towards you, it will compress the sound waves and change the frequency. And in reverse, if it's going away from you, it will decompress the sound waves and change the frequency. So knowing what little bit I know about these Nighthawks, that is my venture right now, is trying to figure out if possibly when one of these things swoop down and make what's called a vroom, or some people call it the boom sound, which is, it's a really cool sound. And I do have that on audio. It's, there's a possibility that it could be that too, but I will not lie. When I first heard that, and within, half an hour after hearing that sound, the first thing that came to my mind was not an animal, a dragonfly, or anything else like that. All I could remember is being online in the chats about Tristan's audio and Doug Highcheck and the folks at Untold Radio Network investigating Tristan's recording, and they're searching for the answers. What is it? If it was a Bigfoot at Tristan's peanut butter jar that was making this purring noise, well, that's been yet to be proven. I mean, nobody knows whether it is or isn't. It could be something completely, totally unrelated to Bigfoot. But it came to mind to me, and I was like, holy shit, is that what just happened to me? Because it sounded very similar. But when I put it on the spectrogram, it's looking like the sound that I recorded. And I'm not as good as like David Ellis and some of these other folks that can really tear this apart. Because if I look at the full sound signature, there is visually sound affecting the frequency from 20 hertz to 110, 120 hertz. And the sound itself is about 3.5, 4 seconds long, if I remember correctly. Hummingbirds, they come in and around, I think it's like 30 or 40 hertz or something like that. So still searching for what it is, but that's what happened to me.
And when you first told this story or this experience you had, of course, the first thing that came to my mind was, well, you had a giant moth dive bomb you, and right across your eardrum there. Now, this was even before I even heard the audio.
Yeah.
And because that's where most of my mind goes to a known animal. Always,
That was
that,
within seconds. I mean, as soon as it happened, I thought it was a moth.
yeah,
Within seconds. But as I sat there for a while, starting to think about what it could be or what it couldn't be, that's what came to mind
right.
is this that Bigfoot purr
But
thing?
I have to say that when I heard it and I listened to it on very, loud with my headphones, it sounds different. It kind of has something about it that, I don't know, I don't want to say engineered, but it sounded very engineered. Like something created that, not wings, but that it was like an engine would make, some kind of some kind of. And at first, of course, I said, well, those are the wings, they're fluttering. You're
Yeah.
hearing a fluttering. And
Yeah.
it's still different. To me, it did sound different. I don't know. I wasn't there, We're just making these hypotheses of what could this be? What makes these sounds? What could make these sounds?
I know the
And
Beatles, most of the Beatles that I've listened to, when they open up that upper shell and their wings fold out and they go into flight, and I have recorded a June bug right out here with video and audio. So I do have that one live to put into this last video as far as my research into this and what my
yeah,
conclusion is going to be. They have it's this papery sound. You can hear the wings, just as you were just explaining.
yeah,
And I don't quite hear that in the vibration sound in my recording. Not the same as the June bug, but
yeah.
in the spectral signature, there
Uh-huh.
are these. How do I explain it? Because I don't know what they're called. They're tiny little segments where, and they have, Jesus, I just don't know how to speak to it very well. It's just out of my wheelhouse, even with audio and sound. But when I stare at the sound signature along the line of time on the outside of the sound signature itself, it has these little white dots that are vertically above they are it's they it just there's something in that sound signature when I stare at it that's different than other sound signatures that I look at. And that at first was making me lean towards maybe it was a beetle of some sort, but I just wasn't hearing the papery wing sound. But
Yeah.
that's why I've sent the audio out to people that are more unqualified than I, and I'm just awaiting, a response on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
You say this
So
to Dallas? You sent
I
that to
have,
Dallas? Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
have sent it out to them, and I just I know they're really busy and everything. I haven't heard anything back.
Okay.
I got a quick response, but not after analysis. So, I'll just await that answer.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and we'll play his audio, but if you don't have headsets on, you're not gonna probably pick up a whole lot. But we do have some other audio that is really good loud, that's very similar, and that's Tristan's also. So okay, so the first one we want to play is the first one you sent me, right? The one, do you want the one on the spectrograph or the one just by itself, the audio file, Jonathan?
I sent you something on a spectrograph.
Yeah.
Did
You
I?
sent me the Dropbox one.
Oh, okay.
Is that Tristan's or yours?
It's probably mine. I'm not really sure. I don't remember sending that, but maybe I tried.
don't know.
I
You
do
were
have
most
a spectral a recording. You know, I have a screen recording of the spectral analysis of that sound. Just shows the sound. But if you want to just go ahead and play
I've got that.
do you?
Yeah, I've got that. Where do I have
Yeah,
that?
you can play both. I mean, either way. But what I would want to bring up is that when you play the clip that's only 3 minutes and 9 seconds long, that is just audio.
Okay.
It's just an audio clip, 3 minutes and 9 seconds long. About 21 seconds into that is going to be the rumble sound.
Uh-huh.
So if you're not waiting to hear it, like you said, you might not pick it up. 39 seconds into that, you're going to hear what sounds, if anybody knows what a deer blow is, or a snort, or something sneezing, just a quick exhale of air, like you blew your nose, like that noise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, 39 seconds. And then the vibrating sound, or the sound that I am trying to find out whether or not it vibrated my ear or not, that happens at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So 21 seconds, 39 seconds, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I don't know if they're all associated with each other, but those are the sounds that are in the recording that I can hear.
Okay, so let me see. Let me try this. The site will be able to use content. This one. Okay. See if it'll come up. Okay, you sent this one. Is this this one says Bigfoot messes with the mic?
Well,
this was yours.
Well, that would be Tristan's.
This one's Tristan.
Because I did look at Tristan's on a spectrogram, and so I may have recorded that, but I don't know how I sent that to you.
Well, then I'm gonna play the audio that you sent, because yeah, this one's a little bit longer.
I think that's Tristan's.
Because it's whatever that thing is messing. I think it's messing with my food at that point.
Yeah, that's not one.
But that's not at the beginning of it. That's like in the middle of it. So.
Okay, this is vibrating.
I don't know if that's the whole clip that you have or not.
We're gonna grab that recorder, and then we're going that away. We're gonna put one out down there, and then realistically, we should go get the we. Keep saying we. I say we because in my mind, as I'm speaking on this thing, what was that? It had been fire. Or a bat or something. It was like, can't do it. Yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
That was it right there, wasn't it?
No.
That was it.
It just did it again.
Yeah, you can stop it there. If we were to listen to that again, and like you say, I mean, it's hard unless you have good headphones on and you're listening to it with quality. But you know, the first rumble sound, it is what it is. If anybody goes back and listens to that again on this podcast, when you hear me try to imitate the sound that I thought I just heard in the beginning, and I go, you know, it sounded like something, and I go like that. Immediately after I make that noise, and you can back it up and you can play the first 40 seconds of it and you'll hear it. As soon as you hear me imitate that and make like a sound or whatever, you'll hear it almost echo me over in the woods, and it's like it makes a sound. It could have been a deer,
Right.
and I'm not saying it has anything to do with, you know, the sound that possibly may have vibrated my ear. Yeah,
I thought I might have heard a possible wood knock in there too in the background.
okay.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that when I listened to it originally.
Yeah,
I thought I heard some possible percussion sounds in the background. So that might have been going on, and I think somebody mentioned too, like I thought I heard a possible grunt in there as well. So
yeah,
there might have been something going on around you for sure. It's definitely possible.
yeah. And I was, you know, it's been troubling thinking to myself, okay, you know, I'm fine with it being a bear. If that was a bear out there that made the big movement, the fact that, you know, I found bear tracks, very fresh set of bear tracks out in that area. I found older bear tracks on the Beaver Dam. You know, okay, it was a bear, if that's the case. But I also find it kind of odd that this blowing noise, if that was a deer, what was a deer doing so close to the bear? Maybe there was deer bedded there. The bear was moving in on the deer, or the two were just fine with being around each other. I don't really know. But it just didn't add up that that was a deer blow if I was witnessing a bear. And it didn't seem like those were deer out there. So just a lot of questions that need answering. And, you know, that's the process of investigating all the material you have and hope you
Right.
get the answer, you know.
And that's a problem with audio too, though. You can't see what's making it, so everything comes to your mind like, what the hell's making it? So that's the tough part about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you compared? You said you listened to bugs and stuff to try to comparison. Have you looked at that on a spectrograph, comparing bugs and what you heard or recorded?
Oh, let's see. So the dragonfly I have, the hummingbird, I want to say that one is, I don't think that I've been able to find the hummingbird, a spectral recording of a hummingbird so I can see the sound signature. I don't think that I've been able to find that yet. And that's why I have things set out back here. I've got a hummingbird feeder and a board set up with Velcro on it, and everything's ready as soon as I have hummingbirds in there to set up my my phone to videotape them in my audio recorder, which I'll use the same exact audio recorder that recorded the sound that we're trying to figure out, to record the hummingbird in flight at the feeder as it zooms in, zooms out, hovers. And although the day that I thought to do this, walked off my back porch looking at the apple tree in my backyard and said, let's see, I could do this, that. A little emerald hummingbird flew right in front of my face. Just, I thought that was pretty bizarre. I haven't seen one since until today. So bizarre. Just like, I thought if I had it in the bag, I would put a hummingbird feeder out there. They'd be coming in and I could get them recorded. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. So I put a second feeder out, and the goldenrod is starting to bloom out here. And today I was looking down the trail and I saw a hummingbird zipping in and around the goldenrod. Beautiful yellow blooms that they're starting to have.
Yeah.
So,
like what Jen mentioned, like they don't really operate at night, so
well,
can't
okay.
really
So,
totally rule it out. I have seen them like during the summer here. You know, it gets darker later now, so I do see them out a little bit later towards it getting dark, but not. You really
Right.
don't see hummingbirds operating really dark at night. So
Yeah.
I've done quite a bit of studying, and I've wrote quite a bit on studied into the hummingbirds, which ones are native to that area, which ones are migratory, whether they should or shouldn't have been in that area at that time, and what their daily routine is. And basically, a hummingbird, at least this is what I have read and discovered, the best of my knowledge. A hummingbird is most active in early morning and just before dark. What do they call that? You're not nocturnal, you're not diurnal, you're starts with an R, right? Jesus, it's left me, but
I don't know the
there's
term.
a name.
Well, I know it's nocturnal and diurnal. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably there's
Yeah, there's a name for animals that are most active right at dawn and right at dusk. And I just can't think of the name. But either way, a hummingbird is very active in the very early hours of the morning, and then semi-active throughout the day, and more active, at dusk. At night,
Right.
they'll often go into a torpor state, like a type of hibernation, because they need to conserve energy. And it's not out of the question that a hummingbird will come out to feed at night if it can visually see food. So if there's a street light nearby or a light source that's drawing in bugs, and it is nested or in a tree resting or half asleep, and can see that, or if it's if its area is being encroached on, and it has to defend its area, a hummingbird will at different times be in flight at night to grab an easy meal. They also, when defending their area and for mating purposes, the males will do this dive where they'll be up 30-40 feet in the air, and then they'll dive down. And when they make that turn, much like the nighthawk, when its feathers are turned in a certain way, the air that's moving through them will create a frequency that is not we can't hear it, but the female hummingbirds and other males can hear it. So for breeding purposes, he's showing off to get other males out of the area. He's dive bombing and making that high frequency sound to say, this is my area, get out. But it is not out of the question that a hummingbird could be out at night.
Right.
It's just,
and of course, you always have the bats. The whole idea of a different range of bats, from little bitty ones to bigger ones, I think are all in that area as well.
their
wing
frequency is a little slow. I said the bat's wing beat frequency is too slow to have contributed to this humming sound. When I mean wing beat frequency, meaning beats per second.
Yes.
Beats per minute. Their bats don't flap fast enough. I mean, they may look like they're flapping pretty good up there, but nothing compared to a hummingbird or a bee or something.
Well, it sounds like you're doing research, which is really good. You've done a lot of research on all the possible possibilities that it could be, or
I've done
you're going through the
beetles.
line of all the candidates.
I'm trying, man. I
Yeah.
really am trying, because at one point I'm going to have to set this aside and move on.
Right.
And I'll just be frank.
Right.
You know, to be honest with you, I'm not one to subscribe to, you know, call it woo, call it whatever you want. But I mean, I'm not one to easily slide over and get too excited about something that isn't explainable. Although, you know, I keep an open mind. I don't shut the door.
Yeah.
And, you know, trying to think, you know, like with your recording, Tristan, you recorded something that sounds like it's physically there at the recorder, possibly messing around with a peanut butter jar that you left there, making a sound that you recorded. I know there wasn't nothing sitting on my tailgate. There wasn't anything close enough to me to blame on this sound. It didn't seem very likely at all that a hummingbird, a beetle, a bat, a bird, anything came swooshing towards my head. For it to be there that long and to cause my ear to vibrate, why didn't I feel no wind from the wing beat? I didn't feel no wind. And in my sixth sense didn't sense anything had come right at me. I mean, typically you can see, you know, you got about 180 degrees that you can see, maybe a little bit more than that. Some people, when I look at the recording, make sure I get this right here. The recording, that recorder should have been screen facing out, which I don't know this for sure, whether it was or wasn't. But I know that on the spectral analysis, I have a left and right mics. And the sound shows up more significant on the left channel than the right channel. And so if it was setting in my headset the way that I typically put it in there, that would have meant that sound signature has coming from back here, somewhere back in this area towards me, or came from here and not from in front of my face, which puts me at a little bit of a disadvantage because I don't have eyes in the back of my head. But if you watch the video, when I put my hands back down on the tailgate, trying to get to that to happen, see if that was going to happen again. Okay, if there's a beetle or a bug in the area and it just made that sound and your ear just vibrated, I was quick to think to just put my hands on the tailgate, act normal. I wanted it to happen again because I was looking. I had the back window of the truck was right there, and I could see the reflection, and of course see what's around me. Is this thing a moth, a great big miller? Is this you know, what just flew around my head? And eventually then I shut my light off, because at first, you know, I'm thinking this, you know, bugs are coming to your light, you know, and then I shut my light off. Well, you know, I just find it so hard to believe that that this sound, it's hard for me to say this. It's just, I find it very hard to believe that this sound came from some living organism that was around my head that I didn't know about it. I have pretty quick reflexes. And what I meant by, you know, when that happened, I did this. How fast is that damn thing? Why didn't I see it? I didn't see nothing.
Yeah.
You know, so it's troubling for me. And then it's even more troubling for me to think that it was something that projected a sound to me. So I'm a little caught in the middle. You know,
Right.
I'm not one to just want to believe that there was something out there in the woods that caused my ear to vibrate and me to hear that sound. But I'll be damned if I cannot figure out what it is. I can't find a match, and I can't identify anything that could have done that. You know, the better part of me says there wasn't a living organism within 3 foot of my friggin' head when that sound happened. That's fact. That's
And like we said, there's some, Pat in the chat kind of must have come in late. We're not saying this is a Bigfoot that did that to him. We're saying that something happened and he can't identify it. And we're trying to figure out the right way to either scientifically or not scientifically try to come up with an answer as to what it could possibly be. What kind of animal, whether that be through spectrographs, going through hummingbirds that kind of almost sound like this, but don't sound like this sound. He's going through the process, and that's what the show is about. It wasn't about saying Bigfoot threw a sound at me. Okay. No. It was something occurred. He got it on audio. He has the proof that that happened to him. He has audio, video, everything you want on it. But it's about that fine line of how we try to identify things that have happened to us while we're out there looking for Bigfoot. Okay. And that's it. It's not like rocket science, other than it's hard to do that because we don't have, he didn't have eyes on the thing. And that tends to be the scenario for a lot of audio stuff, right? We're not there to see what's making the sounds.
Right.
Hence, you have Tristan here. Let me just play Tristan's thing so you can hear stuff that went on there.
All right. So we have the audio file downloaded on Audacity. For those
this is
of
you talking
who do not
over
know,
it.
this is a spectrogram.
Yeah, this is not it.
Open source software.
Not this one.
Anybody can download and learn how to use.
This is going to take you through the
visual representation.
Play this. This is going to show the spectral signature of the
so that we can compare
sound that possibly vibrated my ear.
That
think happened during the time my ear vibrated.
Hold on, I gotta play this one first. It's just they all say Bigfoot messes with me, so I don't.
I really apologize. Yeah, I thought I got that. Right.
I'll say the same thing, so I don't know which one I'm trying to grab here.
I'm not saying it was a Bigfoot. I just I don't know what the name is, so I just say Bigfoot messes with recorder, but I'm not saying that's a Bigfoot.
I think this is the one I want to show. This one right here. Okay, now where is this one? This one's up here. Okay, here we go. Right off the bat, you're gonna hear something. So. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's still crazy to hear. And that was on a recorder where I had to, in order to get that sound off, I had to record onto another recorder because this recorder was really old and it didn't have a USB on it. So
Oh,
we
shoot.
had to get it off of there was to record onto another recorder with USB capabilities.
Oh,
So that's even why there might be some more noise on this because I was recording off this recorder to get it onto another one. So that's probably why it sounds like that.
Wow.
But it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, still listening to it now, it's still crazy to hear. And I'm even surprised that the recorder when I picked it up, it had no scratches, no teeth marks, or anything on it. So, I had no freaking idea that this occurred until I listened to it. And
Which is weird for a bear because you would think that, some kind of gnaw or bite would be in that plastic.
Oh, yeah. And they'll take a recorder, they'll chew it up because of the battery. I think it's the batteries in them that they like. So that's just shocking that it was just I had it strapped to a stump with a bungee cord. And it was just, when I went to pick it up, it looked just fine. I didn't think anything of it until I listened to it.
So there was nothing different about that when you got there.
Not the recorder. Obviously, the peanut butter jar was, and we had peanut butter crackers which were ripped open, and I think something went like this to eat them. But other than that, yeah, my recorder was fine. The bungee cord was fine. Like I didn't think anything came over to it. We were hoping we would get like something like the Sierra sounds. That's why we put the recorder up there originally, but. And this was an hour after my mother and I left. It was getting dark out, and this came in after an hour after we left. Whatever this thing is,
right?
So I don't know. Jury's out on it. I mean, just like what Jonathan's saying, I'm not naming it Bigfoot. I'm not saying a Bigfoot did it, but we're just in that unknown category, and that's unfortunately that's the same thing with a lot of audio. I mean, if you can't explain it. It's hard to say it's Bigfoot, but at the same time, like you can't really. For me, I can't rule it out the possibility of a possible Bigfoot, but I'm not going to tell you, yeah, that's a Bigfoot that did it because I don't know.
Right. Exactly.
But again, just congrats to Jonathan for going. Like you did your homework on this, like with your recording. You listen to all these other sounds and you read up on the hummingbirds and all. Like you did your homework on that, and that's. I think that's great. I think a lot of other people should be doing that with their recordings.
Well, I can't wait to share it because it'll answer a lot of other questions that other people have if they record a similar sound to these humming sounds in the woods. At least they'll have, hard data that's been already analyzed and, it's repeatable to look at, to compare to. I mean, it's... Had
you ever heard anything like that prior in New York, Jonathan?
Okay, so all right. Okay. So there's a place up in Research Area too. There's a mountain that I just named Bigfoot Mountain, probably 800 of them across the United States, whatever, doing my thing up there. There was a time up there where I went up camping the top of the mountain, set up my parabolic. I remember being on Matt Larson's Central Florida Bigfoot, was on his show live that night for a little bit. I was exhausted. I went to sleep and I had gathered up a bunch of moss and made a bed in a little crevice, about a foot deep, put my tent on top of it, sleeping bag. I crawled in there and I just went out. The thing that woke me up was something on the back of my head that lifted my head up into the air and didn't feel like 5 fingers or even 4 or 3 or 2, two separate. It felt like a dog's nose would feel like if your dog got its nose underneath you and lifted your head up in the air. I didn't hear no sounds or anything. I swatted whatever it was away, and I'm a pretty deep sleeper, so I just went back to bed. Okay, I'll get up the next day, going on about my business, whatever, yada, yada. I have to tell you that because just tell you the whole story. I go back up there again afterwards, a couple days later, and I find this twig looking operation that's caught my eye. I do, a little investigating on it, counting up how many twigs, marked them all off, documented it, took pictures of it, looked around for tracks, looked for hair, did everything that I knew to do to be able to know that if anything changes here, or I'm searching for anything out of the ordinary, or find a hair or scatter track or whatever. I did everything I could with that thing. But I knew it was there, and I let everybody else know. And I remember Joe Snyder saying, I don't know about them twigs trick. I don't believe in that shit, whatever. And I was like, well, I don't believe in it, but I'm going to document it, in case it means anything down the road. Well, so I end up going back up there again later into that year to take another look at it. And I can tell you that it was during the time when the Canadian fires were pushing smoke down because the sunset was beautiful. The sky was orange out in there. As I'm coming up this grade of mountain, which is once you get to the top of it, you call it a mountain. It's you could call it a hill. It is a climb to get up there, but a long gradual grade to the knoll where that twig structure was and where I had camped up there. All beautiful grass and hardwoods, very thin in the woods. So it's just beautiful up there. You can see out forever. As I'm making my way up to the top, I hear this pop, 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 pop. Pop, 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 pop. And I'm like, that's right there at the top of that hill. And it's like the cracking sound it's right there. It ain't a long ways away. And I'm thinking, what the hell? Well, then it started going on rapidly, and I can compare it to, and it may have been just the way sound travels, somebody doing a roof 2 miles away where the road about a mile. I think the one house is about 1.5 miles, and then it's 2 miles to the next road as a crow would fly. If they were building a house over there, and doing a roof, and the roofers have the pneumatic guns. Pop, 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 pop. Pop, 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 pop. It wasn't exactly that. I was waiting to listen. Is it that pattern where, hand me a shingle? Pop.
Yeah.
Pop, pop, pop. Hand me another. Pop. Pop, 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 pop. It wasn't. Yeah. It was erratic. And it had stopped for a little bit. Let's say a little bit. 35, 40 seconds. And then pop, 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 pop. Pop, 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 pop. Finally, that stops. And I'm like debating, should I just run to the top of this mountain and see if I can catch whatever it is up there doing that? Or should I just stay right here and just film and just drop to the ground and just film? I stayed down there for a little bit, and I thought, listen, you're up here to look at the damn twig structure. The sun's going to set. You ain't going to be able to see anything. Just do what you were going to do. I get frustrated with myself up there because I get sidetracked. So I could probably make up some really good bloopers if you could hear me. But anyway, as I got up there and got towards that twig structure, all of a sudden I start hearing this buzzing noise that I can tell you sounds just like you're standing about 8-10 feet away from a super hive. Whoa. And I stopped and I'm like, okay, it's right here. And I'm looking up. Am I under it? No, I don't see any big wasp nests. I'm looking all around. I'm looking at the dead trees. I'm looking for the bees. Cause I'm like, if there's that many, it's gotta be a damn cloud of them. I don't see shit. And I'm looking at the ground. I'm like, am I standing in this yellow jacket's nest? I don't see it. I was there for a little bit. I don't see that. So I'm like, well, shit. So I start walking around the top of the mountain trying to figure out, well, if I get a little further away from it, then I'll know it's that way. If the sound dies down, no matter where I walked in a 50-mile square, it never changed in volume. And it went on for about, I don't know, probably 15, 20 minutes, maybe a little bit longer than that. And then finally it just dissipated. And then I went over to the twig structure and marked it with a bunch of little fluorescent tabs and redid all my stuff and did what I had to do. And during that, I have a video where I had multiple cameras, my phones, my new research phone, and then I had my Canon camera that was sitting on a tripod. And with my iPhone 14 Pro Max, there was a time when something caught my eye right down where I had come up originally. And I get the phone out and I'm zoomed in looking down there. And I have a video of what appears to look like a very dark black, and it is in the shape of what we would think that a Bigfoot head looks like down in the grass, down in that area. I went on about my business doing what it is. There was no other movement, didn't get up and run, nothing like that. I went on about my business and went down there, looked for tracks. I couldn't find no tracks. I couldn't see where blades of grass were pressed down, where anything was laying down. And so I just, I set it aside that, there was just in line, perfect, with some tree and forest material that made it appear to look like it was something it wasn't. So, but that humming noise, there's no way to write that away. So it was a beehive or something else that makes that sound. And I couldn't identify it, but that happened.
I think we can all agree when we're out in the woods, you hear things that you're like, what was that? Is that a bird that I've never heard of? Was that a chipmunk or a squirrel, making a sound that I've never heard? And we've all heard of how coyotes can make 1,000 different sounds. None of us have heard them all. So, there's a lot of crows. Somebody in the chat had brought up the Clipper Mills video where it's a family and they get broken down and they're sitting in the back of their boat, in the dark, and the dogs are freaking out, and there's this god awful howling going off in the woods. And it's scary. That would scare anybody, even if you knew those were dogs out there howling and making all that noise out there. It's still scary. Yeah. We'll still get on your nerves.
And they're wild.
Right. And
if they will take it.
That turned out to be a bunch of hound dogs out there, but
yeah,
I don't know, we don't know because we don't, it's just something that happened. It got recorded, and just like everything else, it goes into the, I don't know, file, just the creepy file.
Yeah.
So,
I've also studied, what the heck was this? So I got into this. Here's let's want to read this out loud real quick, just for any people that are into the research, and if they haven't come across this, I urge you to look up the Doppler effect. This is just some things that I came across new while researching all of this. Airbound sound. Direct sound is direct sound waves that travel through the air, such as vocals, voices, or non-percussive musical instruments, or sound travel from a speaker, including whoops, grunts, growls, roars, whistles, cries or screams, and howls, to name a few. And then that's airbound sound. Impact sound. Vibrations that transfer through solid structures when objects make direct contact. Remember, like putting the cup against your little sister's door so you can hear what's going on in there? Okay, some examples being an old church bell, a drum beat, footfalls, wood knocks, rock clacks, hand clap, tongue pop, or chest pound. And those are relative to the sounds that are listed. Okay, I added those sounds that are relative to the subject that are relative to the sounds for examples, just so folks could relate a little better. Flanking sound, an indirect sound that travels around barriers through gaps or deflects, such as an echo. Someone yells your name, you turn to watch them approach, but they appear from another direction. And I said, need to test echo sound signatures versus direct sound signatures. Well, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That happens a lot, more than you think. You could be going anywhere, and all of a sudden, I thought you were in the kitchen and you were in the hall.
Yeah.
It can happen anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and sound can get manipulated very easily.
Mhm.
And I'm discovering that more and more and more and more. And also working with Trackway, Bill, right? He's doing a lot of work with, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he's pretty deep into this as well. And now that I'm becoming more familiar with it, now I'm starting to recognize that it's been some time now that he's been trying to explain to me
Yeah.
how sound can be affected by both environmental and mechanical devices. There's a lot that can go wrong. We'll call it wrong. There's a lot that can affect things in ways you wouldn't think, so that when your final product reaches your ear and you're getting ready to make an identification, you need to also take into account a lot of mechanical deviations that could have affected the sound you're listening to, and a lot of environmental deviations that could have affected the sound that you're listening to. And you take all that into consideration when trying to identify a sound. It's
Well, as humans, we have a lot of error in how we process, information, either visually or auditory, even smelling. We all are different. Because how many times have you been in the woods and you hear something and three people are pointing at different, oh, it's that way. No, I heard it that way. Not that way.
no.
Do you smell that? I don't smell that. Oh, I smell skunk. Oh, I smell garbage. Or I don't smell nothing. It's a bunch of people, out there just making it whatever is
This
for
is
them.
why the research, like when not just me, but so many other people and qualified scientists in the work that they've done and the peer-reviewed papers that are available to the public, when you get into a subject and you can go refer to that. Some of it's way above my pay grade, can't even understand some of it when they get real deep into it. But when folks take the time to do the work and then you don't come out and say, I've got the answer, I figured it out. No, you figured out one variation of what it could be. And if it starts to become repeatable and your information is matching this one's information, and then these are matching other people's information, then you can start building a case for it being a stronger piece of evidence. It's still not guaranteed.
Yeah. I think it's important to have other people listen and to see and listen to what you present to people, because you can't just have one opinion and one, think, oh yeah, I think it's this, but somebody else might have a different opinion on it. So it's always best to have other ears listen to what you capture, and that way you don't just have one mindset on it. So what you're saying, you might get three different answers on a single audio recording. I see that in comments in some videos where they have vocalizations and those are dogs, these are geese. I mean, people are going to come up with different explanations for it. So, and I guess that can kind of muddy things too. That might get a little bit overwhelming when you're trying to figure out what it could be. But
I heard somebody's audio and I swore it sounded like a peacock.
Yeah.
And I think it was Alex's or Brian's. Somebody they put something out and I'm like, oh, that kind of sounded like a peacock to me. What's a peacock doing in the middle of the woods? There are some that are out because there's actually a peacock farm. We did a little bit of research.
We have one too.
About 40 miles away, but it's kind of far, but maybe one got loose. I don't know. You never know. Also, Miss Trackway, Deb did have a say that also topography has a lot to do with all of that. So
that's what I meant by environmental.
Dips and mountains and hills,
mountainous, forested.
It changes everything we hear, and
even if you're near water, of course, wind. I mean, just
Oh
like
yeah.
any environmental factor could, mess with it. And
Listening to a babbling brook all night is horrible. You
Yeah.
think it's all beautiful in the daytime, but at night, when your mind is trying to hear other things and you're hearing talking coming from the creek, and it's just that
Yeah.
water, you know.
I never knew that until getting into this subject in the community. I never paid attention to it. I mean, I'm sure I heard it when I was a kid and thought, oh, that must be somebody over there. But yeah, the babbling brook. And now that I know of
Now
that,
why
I've
it was
listened at night and I've been like, well, ain't that something that does? Because I'll share with you a quick little. I was up there in Research Area 2 one night and I was close to the road. It was late at night. And I'm telling you, I mean, I thought this is it. I was hearing, and I knew the topography down in where I was looking. I'm like, there is either a man or something down there walking in the water coming right towards me. And I've got my thermal audios on. I'm all set and ready. And I'm right up against this tree. And I'm like, holy shit, you got to be kidding me. Well, come to find out, after it just wouldn't get any further away or any closer, and it just never would stop, I'm like, all right, enough's enough. I'm like, I'm going to make you move now. So I got the thermal there. I'm like, start moving in. I'm like, it just became apparent to me that something was wrong. And I got up the trail just a little bit, and it was a culvert that was running under the road, and this little 1-inch drip of, about an inch around amount of water that would just gurgle out there a little bit. And it sounded just like somebody coming right at me, man.
Oh,
I was bamboozled.
Then that makes you a little more skeptical, like,
Yeah.
it's nothing. Well, all these tree breaks and stuff, it's nature, it's something natural. When a tree falls in the forest, they fall. They fall very
naturally. Yep.
Yeah. And that's evident. You go out there and you're crawling all over dead fall and stuff out there. So
I also want to mention, just real quick, there are also sounds that you'll capture on your audio recorders, or even when you're filming something, and you won't even hear that in person. You have to go back and listen to it on the spectrograph or whatever. I can't tell you how many videos that people put up of them going out in the woods, searching for Bigfoot or whatever, and then they capture something on their audio with their camera, but they don't hear that. And then when they release it, I'm sitting here listening with my headphones going, you guys didn't hear this when you watch it back? So I just want to mention, there is a lot of times where even on my audio recorders, well, I'll be capturing some stuff I didn't hear in person. So and also I think there's some sounds that occur like below possible the hearing, our hearing. So you really have to look for the little small bumps and things below like the main line on a spectrograph, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on that even your ears won't pick up.
I have mine set from 0 to, what was it, 1900? I don't think I really dabble with anything above 1900, only just because our quote unquote target subject seems to fall, within that range.
Within that range, yeah.
More you can get, more isolated into the between 5 and 8, but yeah, I at first had it. When I first started, it was 0 to 20,000. But, that's a lot of ambient noise to have to deal with if you're looking for, mammals that, vocalize in a certain range.
Let me ask you something, the two of you. Do you think that there's a chance science is missing something major about Bigfoot?
Could speculate, I guess. I don't think they really,
the science is missing something major.
Like is there a chance that we're missing something big that involves Bigfoot? I mean, and you can speculate about this because we don't know, right? It's but there's always seems like something's missing, right? Something's not right.
Yeah, I guess as a talking point, I mean, you could say, well, science doesn't really dive into this too deep and put their all into it. So, but it is starting to attract attention and get some traction. There are some academics that are entertaining this subject. But whether or not they're missing something major, I guess I'm not qualified
Don't
to
think
say
they're playing
what
instruments.
it is. Yeah.
I think we've talked about this before. I don't think there's probably enough. No, it's not so much. I don't think there's people out there searching. I think there's a lot of people out there searching, but I don't think they're out there for long period. I don't think there's enough people out there for long periods of time searching, because a lot of people do the weekend thing, right? So,
Right.
I think there might be enough people out there. It's just they're not spending enough time out there, and that's maybe why. That's partially why we might be missing things. And if Bigfoot's more of a nocturnal or diurnal, but it's, if it's more active at night, again, I don't think there's as many people active at night. And and personally, I don't like going out searching for a Bigfoot at night. I just rather have them come to me, because I don't think they like the idea. If they exist, I don't think they like the idea of people hunting them, so to speak.
Right on.
So that's just my approach to it.
Pretty certain.
I guess maybe the approach is another thing that might be a problem in terms of science missing, because I think everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to go out there and hunt Bigfoot. I'm going to go walk out there and find Bigfoot. And, it's like, if the Patterson film is real, for example, I mean, I'll quickly bring that up real quick. Like, why haven't we got anything like the Patterson film? So what did they do right? And what are we doing wrong? If the Patterson film is real, So that's not, like, what did
earlier Scott in the chat kept asking, and I saw your question, Scott. Okay, it's just we weren't on that line of questioning, but now that we've brought it up, we have not gotten that video like the PNG or even the Freeman. Whether you believe in either one of them doesn't matter, but we don't get those videos like that anymore without it being blatantly fake, just AI created or a known suit. Okay. But we're not getting those anymore. So it's getting harder. Now, is Bigfoot still in the Bluff Creek area? I don't know. We haven't had any sightings. There has been a few of road crossings up in that area, but as for type A sightings, there hasn't been a whole lot. I think the possibility that there's still maybe one group in that area that gets seen every now and then, but I am 100%. I feel like the population has gone down, is really dwindling now, and I just don't think we're gonna be seeing them as much as maybe we had in the past. But I don't know, are people reporting sightings? Seems like they are, but then again, we've got people who say they go out every weekend and see them. So you gotta kind of balance that out as to what's real and what's not. If everybody can see them every weekend they go out, how come it's not known to science? That's the big question.
Yeah, if we're to believe everything on YouTube and everything that gets posted on the internet, or even half of it, which brings to question, should you just so easily dismiss all of it with some of the ones that are somewhat, especially when the people? I mean, they're not known to really want to jerk everybody around, and they're just presenting what it is that they saw. It is nighttime, it is a thermal shot, or it's a daytime video or picture that is very suspicious and maybe if we were to consolidate all of those and stay up to par with the BFRO and the Bigfoot Mapping Project's reports, current reports, and then sift through those, could you pull out enough from all of the above to say we're still engaging with Bigfoot on a regular basis, whether it be accidental road crossing or campers hiking into a pond who reported seeing a big hairy man standing up in the woods watching them and then walked off? Compared to back in the 60s and 70s, you know, and it's hard to say we're looking for them after the PG film. Whether or not the population is the same now as it was then is questionable, but it would make more sense with the amount of people that are actively out looking for them, whether they're only in their backyard or they're going deep into the woods. It would seem that the population is very low.
Yeah, I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, it's possible. Definitely can't rule that out. That maybe it's a really rare endangered species, and it's not like as time has gone on without us finding it. Yeah, maybe the numbers have definitely gone down. I don't think there's as many reports coming in as before, and honestly, we're not really that. I mean, we're almost in the same boat as we were in 1967, like in terms of any new evidence or trying to figure this out. We're not very far into it. We're in the same. Yeah, I mean,
you're gonna have people who are
moved that much. Needle hasn't moved that much, even with our today's technology with the thermals and drones and all that. We haven't gone. Nobody's come up with anything yet. So,
which is the whole shocker, right? Is that we have all this technology and we haven't been able to capture anything on video. It's kind of a strange thing that, you know, we own the two best videos are from the late 60s and 80s or 90s, whatever.
Yeah.
And we haven't gotten anything more. So it doesn't hold, you know, really good for Bigfoot, you know, as a discovery. And you're going to have the other side who says, oh, we've already proved it. We've got DNA and we've got pictures, and you know, guys have to criticize whatever. But I don't know. I know the truth for me. I know the research I do to find answers to all the fakes and the hoaxers and all that stuff. And people out there want to believe that. They want to believe so bad that it exists that they're willing to accept whatever comes out online, including the AI, which is getting better. Okay, guys, it is exponentially getting better. And I was actually going to show some video of, let me see if I can find this. I don't know if I sent it to myself of some new AI videos that have come out. Let me see.
Other than the Bigfoot vlog videos that are everywhere. AI videos.
Our video. Nope, that's not it either. Hold on. Oops. Where did I send it to? Well, it was on TikTok, so maybe I wonder if I can.
I mean, AI is definitely getting there. It's getting there. So
yeah, it is.
The whole getting something on film now is going to be almost.
It's going to come down to who do you trust for yourself personally. I mean, if you're going to see footage of what is so-called, you know, supposed to be a Bigfoot walking right out in the wide open, who's the source?
Right.
And then what's the story? And you're going to have to make a personal, you know, a decision on a personal level, whether or not you want to believe that or not, and trust that that really is what that
Right.
person says it is.
And there's also another trend going on with TikTok videos I've noticed, or even shorts, of people taking vocalizations of supposed Bigfoot recordings and using them in their videos, and those
Yeah.
get viral. In fact,
Yeah.
Thinker Thunker did a video recently where it used a recording from 2012, and like 2 different videos use that recording. So that's another problem with with the online thing. Is people using other people's content to make content.
Yeah. And the entry level people that are just getting into the subject, even if the person does have what it takes to contribute something positive to the subject itself, is going to get led astray right out of the gate.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
It was so weird. AI dog head. Okay, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let's see if I can just pull it up. Oh, okay, here it is. Okay. I'm going to stop this. And it's going to freak you out because it freaked me out.
This is a big
travel long distance in a short amount of time.
It's not a Bigfoot. I just want to show.
Sure.
Oops, I keep hitting the
I
share
think a
button.
place like New York, if New York State carries somewhere around 15, 20 Sasquatch, I think that would be probably
you got to watch this. This is how AI is starting to develop.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Something, George Henry.
Yeah.
Oh, good grief.
Dang.
Oh, whoops. Hold on. I keep doing the wrong one. Okay, there we go.
Damn. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
I was like, whoa. I don't know if this is another one. Yeah, there's another
one. Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah, it's pretty scary how good it's getting.
Right. It's
well, I'm glad it's fake.
Oh my gosh.
See how crazy it is getting?
Dang.
Oh my God. I don't know. Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's getting crazy out there.
The other day I was watching this video. I'm sorry, go ahead, Tristan.
Well, I was just because I'm surprised we're not seeing more Bigfoot videos. I mean, other than the AI vlog ones that we've been seeing. I mean,
right?
It's so realistic now. Why when are people pumping them out and getting famous for them? Because
I think it's because we don't have a clear definition of Bigfoot, so it's still gathering that information about what it looks like, and because a lot of them look very monkey-like, still. If you look at the faces, they still look very ape-like. And until people have to go in and say, no, this has to be corrected, until you tell the AI to correct things, it'll keep generating those same type of features.
No, maybe the pressure on hoaxers and hoodwinkers has been working over the last few years, and they're just not looking to put that stuff out.
Yeah,
well, they might have to step it up though, if that's to compete.
It's just not a very popular subject, and it's only us that thinks it's that popular.
Yeah, I mean, how many more Sasquatches do we need to see? I mean, it's if those people have to change the way they operate and use AI more if they want to get more people. Blue Ridge Bigfoot. Right. Oh, yeah.
So before I forget, I wanted to do a quick plug for the Blue Ridge Bigfoot Fest that's coming up September 27th in Nellysford, Virginia. It's going to be held at the Wintergreen Resort. And I am going. I decided I'm going. I've been asked to speak at the event. So it'll be my first speaking event. Woohoo!
Congratulations.
Nice. Congrats. Yeah.
So I don't think they know what they got themselves into. No, no, I'm just kidding. It's going to be fun. Daniel Benoit is going to be there. Melissa Adair, Dr. John Barnshock's going to be there. Gary Clark, David Wright, Chet Nichols is the event MC. And I'm not there because I just confirmed. I had been told by my boss that I could not go because he was taking the same time off. But he's changed. So now he changed. So now I can use my PTO time, and I'm going to be able to make it. So I secured my airline, my rental. I need to secure a couple more days at the resort here, and hopefully I can make this happen. So I got the plane tickets, so now I have to go. And it's actually the same Saturday that the Whitehall event is going to be happening up in New York. So everybody's going to have a busy Bigfoot weekend that last weekend in September.
Well, I'm happy for you, Nikki. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm glad you're doing that.
So now I have to start working on my slides. So who do you think I need to talk about? We got to talk about Rick Dyer. I think I'm just going to go down some of the bigger hoaxes and, how to spot things and absolutely talk about Mount St. Helens and British Columbia and getting out there. A little bit of everything.
About your experiences that you've had.
Yeah. And my, whatever it was, that Jen and I, we both experienced something that day. And I wished it had shot at her so that we could have both had that experience. For sure. Let's see. What do we got out here? Any more questions? What else did I say? Okay, these were all Scott Walker questions. Scott, if Bigfoot is in Northern California, it's a good place to be. I mean, I don't know where else. It's got food, water, shelter, everything he needs there if he exists. We're just not seeing him. Maybe all the growers, the illegal growers out there away.
I'm sure they got stories to tell.
There was a recent, it's probably 2 weeks ago, I was on the Bigfoot mapping project, just scanning over stuff, recent sightings, and I caught one. It was just a guy that rides a bike. He wasn't a Bigfooter or anything else like that. It was, I can't specific to the exact spot, but it was in the central United States, and he was just riding his bike down the road, and off the side of the road he described this tall, hairy, figure that went out through the woods out through there. And when I look at that, I just think to myself, how do you figure out whether this is a guy that's just looking for attention? And because anybody can put a report in on that. I mean, I could go do it tonight and say, oh my God, I was up in Palmer Pond, and, I could make up a story pretty deep, say, yeah, sure, it was 7-8 foot tall. Yeah, it had a little one with it. Yep, I found tracks, and all that. Yeah, you're right. You can, but try to read lines. That one seemed as if maybe, if you were going to make up a story, why would it just be, I'm a biker, I don't have anything to do with Bigfoot, and I was riding down the road, and those aren't the exact words, but it just didn't seem as if that it was a fabricated story. Just started to bring it up, and more so just to direct people to the Bigfoot mapping project and the BFRO database to just keep looking. Because one thing that I can say, over a period of a little bit of time here, last 6-8 months, at least in my world, it seems if that folks are a little on the down about, are they even out there? Is it even worth doing this? It's just, man, don't hope. Because you know what? There's too much out there that still needs to be answered. And myself personally, I think there is something out there. And I don't know what it is, but just I think everybody should just stay laser focused. Don't get caught up in the crazy shit. Is try to keep it on the level and keep collecting the information and wait for the breakthrough, because we never know, it might be coming soon.
Might
Yeah,
happen
you
tomorrow.
never know. I mean, you have Thomas Steinberg has put out there that he thinks if Bigfoot isn't discovered in the next 5 years, that he's pretty much saying it doesn't exist. He wants to say
also
that.
has to do with the land bridge that they made across it. Was it the Coquihalla? Is that the highway? They've made those animal highways that cross the major roads up there. So which is, I mean, I can agree with them to an extent. If all the animals are to be crossing that highway in those, and a Bigfoot doesn't cross there in the next 5-10 years or something like that, I mean, you'd really have to ask yourself.
I believe they exist. I believe because there are people out there who have seen them, Class A in front of their faces, like Steve Calls, Jeff Harding, Jay Fritz, Joe Schneider, who have had these incredible encounters, and I believe them. I believe them based on their character, how they hold themselves and present their stories. And that's why I believe, this
comes down to whether or not you trust them or not.
Right.
But then you have a whole other side of people who are like, I believe because I see him every week, and every time I go here or here, that really bring you down. They really bring you from, this just taints the whole community.
Yeah.
When that happens. I mean, there are whole Facebook groups out there that are just based off of, weekend sightings and stuff. And it's crazy.
And the people that always have them, that always see them or always have experiences, I mean, that's accepted. Like, people accept that, and that's it's frustrating. So it's really not like that. I mean, we've all been out there. It's really not like that. Every time you go out there, it's not. And it's not like
in actuality, we have a great time going out in the woods, right? But there's not a whole lot that happens.
Right. Exactly.
It's a whole lot of walking around and stumbling around and hoping you run into something, and it not being a bear, or a skunk or whatever. But oh God, I know. Brent would have to mention mountain lion every time we were in the dark, and it just was so irritating. I'm like, why you do that every time? I'm at the end of the line here, dude. But any questions out there for us? Let's see what we got. I think Steve is having a show. I don't know if I did see a promo. Jen, is he having a show? I don't know.
Steve might be at a conference. I don't know.
He is. He's down at Hocking Hills.
That's what I remember hearing. Hocking Hills.
I was going to try to jolt off of that too, but it didn't work out with work. That's a long drive.
We've been putting prayers out for Sandra Piper, and I guess she's home now, so that's a good thing.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Good.
Yeah, that's a prayer.
Robert's saying, what did you think of the thermal capture?
From
which thermal capture?
From Lowell?
Are you talking about the one they're calling a dog man?
Was that Pat and
LBO?
So BF Bud was down there.
Yeah.
I don't know which one that
slam between the legs.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one they're referring to.
It's a heat signature. Yeah, it's a heat signature. I don't know what it is,
I think it's very interesting the fact that it, when they were talking about the weather, the fact that it was rainy and weather, bad weather, and that they decided to drive in the trucks. And, even if they're off 30, 40 yards or 50 yards with the distance, it was definitely out there late at night in rainy, bad weather where there shouldn't have been a human walking around out there.
Right.
And if it was a human drug addict, you'd probably been more apt to just squat down and hide behind something and wait for everybody to go by, geeked out. And
I missed how big they said it was. I just looked through the video really fast. I didn't look at the whole thing.
I can only catch what's on YouTube because I don't surf Facebook and all them other things.
I don't know where to find that video. I don't know if I've seen
it.
Somebody said they did a recreation.
Somebody sent it to me. I'll send it to you when I find it. I have it somewhere. I wanted to do a quick shout out to Relic Hominin. He was here earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but he has been sending me ideas for shows and is working on something. And thank you very much. I am going to be I'm all up on that. Just give me a little time. My research skills are a little bit rusty. So I love your ideas. Keep them coming. Thank you very much for helping me out with that. And I will be getting back to you soon. Another note to the Frozen Northman, who was here last week in the chat, sent me some videos of proof of Bigfoot. And I looked at these videos, and he says he's willing to come on the show to explain what he has and what he sees. I do not see Bigfoot. Okay, I do see what you're seeing. I see something in the background moving around. If you guys want to see these videos, you can find them at his YouTube channel, Northman's Keep. Northman's Keep. And he's got a couple of, I think they're there. If they're not there, I'm going to talk to this guy and see if maybe he'll come on at the end of one of our shows and explain what he says is a Bigfoot. Interesting. There's something kind of like goes in the behind him. I don't know what it is.
I got a ton of that. I just don't put it on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah. I've got a picture up here that I've showed multiple people and said, "What do you see?" And they're like, "Holy shit." And it looks like a little 5-6 foot Bigfoot right there standing out in front of me. And it was at night with the little golden light. I don't know what that light was off to the side, but I'm going to put a video together or claim that that's Bigfoot. What do you do with all that stuff?
I know. Yeah. Well, he claimed it's Bigfoot.
Yeah. Some people have no problem putting that out.
I just wanted to let you know I did look at it. I didn't respond. I don't think I sent you a response. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'll get back to you on that too. Let's see. This is done. Dirt Road Bigfoot did a live stream yesterday talking about the thermal with the people who filmed it. Just search for that channel for the latest. Thank you, Robert.
All right, thank you.
It's out in a couple of different places, I know.
I have to write
But
that down.
that LBL thermal. And I even know Pat did his thing on it too. They didn't like that very much. They didn't like it at all.
Oh, Pat, Squatch Talk?
Yeah.
Was he very nice?
He was, super
Tear
nice.
it up, did he?
They didn't like it at all.
Hey, he tells it how he feels it. It is what it is. You gotta have that. You gotta have pressure on him.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there. We're not there. We're seeing all this third hand, fourth hand, off of what people were there. And it's really different. It is really different when you were there, you weren't around any other people, how far away the next camp is or the next city or town or how far you went in off on that fire road. You know these things, but people don't know that, who are watching your content. They don't
just
know.
seeing the video. They don't know all the backstory or what else is going on.
Right.
You weren't
And
there.
there is a lot of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that go on. You don't have time to sit there and explain all that to most of the time. I was an hour in on the fire road, and there are bears, mountain lions, cougars, whatever. All these animals are out there. Yes. Were there people? I didn't see any people. Did anybody pass me on the road? Nobody passed me on the road. That's about all I can tell you. I'm out there, so it is feasible that somebody else could be out there.
Yeah.
But
you never know when Hellbent Holler's coming up over the other hill. That might have been Joe over there taking a leak.
Taking names.
Stop over on that damn road. You're like, go on. Well, yeah, I need to get on about my business.
Right.
That's it. Turn your light off. You never do know.
No.
Because you never know, you can't factor. That's what kills a lot of good things too. Because I swear, like, it would be really hard to throw something on the table that nobody could bitch about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it would be really tough to throw something down on the table and say, there, go ahead. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Do your best. Do your best job you can do.
That's going to be
So I'm going to bring this show to an end. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. So this is my final thoughts. In the end, Bigfoot research is about more than just finding footprints and or analyzing hair samples. It's about asking questions. Some answers will come from science, others from personal experience, and some might never come at all. But the pursuit matters because curiosity is the fuel that drives discovery. Whether you lean towards the unknown or the known, the fact that we're still looking, still questioning, means the mystery is alive and well. And maybe that's exactly where Bigfoot belongs for now. Thanks again, John and Tristan, for coming on and having this chat. So, y'all, thanks for coming and let me see, where's my end here? Keep your minds open, your cameras ready, and your boots muddy, and I'll see everybody in the next chat.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Tristan.